bringing players through. We see with Foden at Manchester City, we see with Rashford at Manchester United, Trent Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool, Harry Kane at Tottenham, even though he's an Arsenal fan. Fans love to see players coming through from the academy. Yeah. And when you get a good batch like what Chelsea have invested into, the facilities that Chelsea have got, the players that they invest in from a very young age, and then you develop them. And I know Eddie Newton was very much had his finger on the pulse years ago with having a problem, because basically you get to an age where the boys are 18, 19, they need to start getting first team action.
Yes.
Eddie Newton's job was to get them out on loan, make sure he keeps an eye on them, and make sure they continue to develop so they can get in and around the first team. And what you're seeing at Chelsea at the moment with, Chalobah, James in particular, Hudson-Odoi, are some excellent young players who've been through the academy who are now starting to showcase what they've got.
I mean, it was Tuchel's 50th game in charge last night, Simon. When you look at the stats, they've kept 31 clean sheets in those 50 games, more than any other side in Europe's Big Five leagues during that period, conceding just 24 goals. I mean, when you look at them, how special a thing have they got going at Stamford Bridge? I mean, I'll put it out there. Is this the best Chelsea team in the Abramovich era, Simon? There have been great teams, and obviously Lampard and Terry, they all come to mind.
I think the 4-5 team was
Drogba,
probably one of the best sides that Chelsea produced the first season with Mourinho. I think, obviously, I'm a huge admirer of Tuchel's. I think he's the real deal. I think he's come through the door and just taken the mythology of managers need time and so on and so forth, and sort of shredded it and put it into perspective what a top guy can do when he walks through the door. I do think we've got to get context. They are beatable. They are a side that can be beaten. Brentford ran them ragged for a game and were unlucky not to come out of that game with something. City have beaten them. They've drawn at home to Burnley. They are a very good side with all the moving parts working. Yes, the academy is doing well, but so it should. It wasn't so long ago Chelsea were getting sanctioned for stockpiling every young player around the country and in Europe. So they are entitled to have this sausage factory of young players coming through. And it is good that he's tipping his hat to every aspect of the club. You can do that. It's clever thinking, because he's a really clever operator, not just in football terms, but in life terms. He's like Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger could talk more about economics than he could talk about football, because he's got that kind of brain. And he's a very different animal. So he's smart, and he'll tip his cap at every aspect of the club. When you just walked off a pitch, handing Juventus a 4-0 drubbing, Juventus aren't in particularly good nick. They're in 8th or 9th in their own league. A couple of decent results recently, but they're not in great nick. They're not the Juventus of old, but notwithstanding that, a 4-0 win in the Champions League against Juventus is great. And then you tip your cap to the youth development process, because you've got the poise, your composure is in your head, you're on top of your game, and you can find every aspect of the club to laud and applaud. So everybody in the club feels good. Everybody gets the benefit of the association. I've always said and maintain this position that anybody who finishes in front of Chelsea this season will win the league.
Yeah.
And I don't know that anybody will. But Guardiola will give him a run for his money. And those two are the standout. Klopp is the three of them. Klopp, Tuchel and Guardiola are the standout managers, the standard by which everyone else has got to follow. So at this moment in time, Chelsea as a side, as a component and of all its parts, are a pretty impressive, irresistible force.
Yeah.
But they will meet an immovable object.
At some stage, but they seem to me, Simon, of all the title contenders, to be the least vulnerable.
In what way? I mean, they were.
I cannot looking ahead. I cannot really see them being beaten anytime soon.
When City beat them recently, where was the vulnerability? Where's the vulnerability in the power and impressive performances of Liverpool recently? Where's the I mean, I know we can talk about the Brentford
look at
game.
the defensive record. Like 31 clean sheets in 50 games.
I get that, and ultimately we have to take that statistic in isolation or in its entirety and say, okay, but we're still at a season where they're not running away with the league. People are on their shoulders, and one of those games. So Liverpool whoever's 3 points behind them, that someone loses a game or draws a game, it's 1 point. So the margins are there, but what it is it's a fascinating power play, because Chelsea are really very strong again. They've got a manager that's really on top of his game. And now you've got the other two sides are in full throttle as well.
Yeah.
So it becomes fascinating. But the discussion we're having with Chelsea today is they've powered through the Champions League. They're powering through the league. They've lost players like Lukaku who've been out, and it's not broken their stride. So they are what we've always said they were since the beginning of the season. They're the real deal. They're very impressive. And I believe they are the barometer. So I can't change my pitch now because there's no reason to.
Yeah, and listen, before the season started and before Manchester City got beat at Tottenham. I did say that Chelsea were the team to beat. They'd beaten them a few times towards the end of back end of last season. Added Lukaku to that group of players that they already had. Thomas Tuchel had already proven to everyone, I think, that he was a top class operator.
Yeah.
But then I think Liverpool come into the fold a little bit early on in the season, but you look at a couple of the results Liverpool have had against West Ham, where they got beat, the 2-2 draw with Brighton, plus they've got the African Cup of Nations coming up where they're going to lose some key players. I would say they're just below Chelsea and Manchester City. But
below?
Yeah, I think they'll be below Manchester City and Chelsea. But having watched the game where City went to Stamford Bridge, beat them 1-0, had 60% possession, 4 shots on target, didn't allow Chelsea to have a shot on target. That kind of changed my opinion that I feel City might have the upper hand, but we will have to see.
We'll have to see. I'll put it out there, and Chelsea fans no doubt will be top of the queue in terms of answering this. This current Chelsea side, has it become the ultimate team under Thomas Tuchel? And when you look back at other Chelsea sides, and Simon mentioned one from years ago, but is it your view this is the best Chelsea team in the Roman Abramovich era? Let me know your answer to that. 03717 2233 44 810 89. We're coming up to 11 o'clock. It was interesting, Simon, you said Wenger, so many other strings to his bow.
Yeah.
The same could be said about Tuchel, and you're spot on with this. You know, at university, a degree in business administration. Yeah. He's a polyglot, in other words.
Speaks more than one language.
Yeah, German, French, English, Italian. He even worked as a bartender while he was a student at Stuttgart. So he's done the lot, hasn't he?
And he'll appreciate the position that he's worked to get himself into now.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning 10 till 1 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.